Hi everyone, thanks for coming back for part 2. In my last video I was just going over this table right here, and as you can see it reads at the top, Feast, Weeks, Rapture, June, Dead, Rise, Last Day. And I had just finished going over the terms, and the Feast of Weeks is another term for Pentecost, and that's why I put in those two terms up there. And I just wanted to point out that in the plain text, this is actually created by an abacus effect. But you see the word seventh right here. It's actually part of the word abominations. It's using the S in abominations. And then it says even, thine, adulteries. And if you push all those terms together, it creates the word seventh by an abacus effect. And I just think that's interesting how that term comes up. And over here in the blue we have the word June. So I'm not sure if that's in any way giving a date or not, but I'm just pointing it out that it makes the word seventh. And as I had put in here, it could be referring to the seventh day or the seventh week, because those were terms that were up at the top as well that came up in ELS. So I'm not sure what it might be referring to when it's talking about the seventh, but I don't feel like that's an accident. I feel like it's pointing to something having to do with the seventh. And it's interesting how in the word June, you have the word Judah using the J in the word June, and then you have Jerusalem using the U in the word June. And it's a constant theme throughout the Bible to talk about the two houses of Israel, which I believe in the last days represents the Jews and the Gentiles. And as I've stated in other videos, I believe it represents even more than that with the number 11. And I may talk about that some more later with some of the other matrices that come up with Pentecost. But I'll just, for now, I'll just go over the matrix in this one because the matrix is pretty interesting. And it comes up in Jeremiah 13, verses 21 through 14, verse 3. So I'll just go ahead and read that. And it says, "What wilt thou say when he shall set over thee as head those whom thou hast thyself taught to be friends to thee? Shall not sorrows take hold of thee as a woman in travail?" Okay, so that would be an allusion to the tribulation. The tribulation is referred to as a woman in travail. "And if thou say in thy heart, wherefore are these things come upon me? For the greatness of thine iniquity are thy skirts uncovered, and thy heels suffer violence. Can the Ethiopian change his skin, or the leopard his spots? Then may ye also do good that are accustomed to do evil. Therefore will I scatter them as the stubble that passeth away by the wind of the wilderness. This is thy lot, the portion measured unto thee from me, saith Jehovah, because thou hast forgotten me, and hast trusted in falsehood. Therefore will I also uncover thy skirts upon thy face, and thy shame shall appear. I have seen thine abominations, even thine adulteries, and thy neighings, the lewdness of thy whoredom, on the hills of the field. Woe unto thee, O Jerusalem! Thou wilt not be made clean. How long shall it be?" The word of Jehovah that came to Jeremiah concerning the drought. "Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. They sit in black upon the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem is gone up. And their nobles send their little ones to the waters. they come to the cisterns and find no water. They return with their vessels empty. They are put to shame and confounded and cover their heads. Okay, so this all reads like the beginning of the tribulation. And according to the scriptures, in I believe it's Matthew 24, the tribulation begins with the abomination of desolation. It doesn't begin with a peace treaty. I know a lot of people have talked about that and have gotten excited about a peace treaty being signed. But in Matthew 24, Jesus tells us, "When you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. Then let them which be in Judea flee to the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house, neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be." So the tribulation begins with the abomination of desolation that's talked about in Daniel 9:27. So let me try to pull that up. I know a lot of people think it begins with a peace treaty, but I do believe this is referring to Christ confirming the covenant. This is what this prophecy is about. It's about Messiah the Prince. And it goes on to say that he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. And in the midst of the week, that's when he was cut off after the 69 weeks, in the middle of the 70th week, he was cut off. And he caused the sacrifice and oblation to cease. And that's talked about in Hebrews 9 and 10. And for the overspreading of abominations, he shall make it desolate. And that's what seems to be what's being talked about in this matrix right here. It seems to be talking about the abominations and being made desolate because of all the abominations, which is basically what God is going to do, what Jesus is going to do. But there's also the one who makes desolate, which is also referred to as the abomination in Matthew 24. But it goes on to say, "For the overspreading of abominations he shall make it desolate, even until the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate." So it has a dual meaning. It's talking about the one who makes desolate, which comes on the scene in the midst. And it's also talking about God himself making desolate because of all the abominations, which is what this matrix is talking about. Now, I've said before that I do believe that there may be a dual meaning to the prophecy, and it could be referring to the Antichrist as well. But I do believe that if there was a covenant made, that has already been done. There was actually, and a covenant does not have to be written. A covenant can be verbal, and there was a verbal covenant made about 3 or 4 years ago in Jerusalem, and it was called the Unbreakable Alliance. So it could be that was the confirming of the covenant, and that after about 3 or 4 years, that covenant will be broken the second time. And I do believe the word abomination is a play on words. So I do believe that the second time the abomination comes to Jerusalem will be when that covenant is broken. It was made the first time the abomination was in the holy place, and then when it comes to the holy place the second time, I believe that's when that covenant will be broken. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just go on to the next one, which actually lines up with what I was just talking about, because this one actually comes up in the book of Daniel. It comes up in Daniel 9:23 through 26, which is the exact prophecy we were just talking about. And this one reads, feast, weeks, rapture, June, wrapped. So that's just another term for rapture. And they both came up. Of course, the first one came up in two parts, but it's really amazing how the word rapture came up in this table. So let me just go ahead and go over the terms. Over here in the red, you have the word feast, the letters F, E, A, S, T, and then weeks is here in the pink. And then the first part of the word rapture actually touches the word weeks. It starts with the R over here, and then you have the A touching the word weeks, and then the P, and then the second part of rapture goes down this way in the bluish purple, the letters T, U, R, E. And again, this is touching against the word weeks as well, because it's coming right at an angle with the letter S in weeks. And then over here in the green, you have the word wrapped, which is another word for rapture, and that's touching right against the A in the first part of the word rapture here in the lavender with the letters R, A, P. It's touching against that A, and so you have the R in wrapped over here in the green, the letters R, A, P, T. So they seem to all be connected, and connected with the term feast and weeks. They're all meshed in together with each other. And over here in the blue, you have the word June with the letters J, U, N, E, and June shares with Jerusalem. And this is talking about restoring and rebuilding Jerusalem, which is the temple. The city and the temple, they go together. And that's what the prophecy I was just talking about is all about. And I'll go ahead and read it from here, and then I guess I'll continue with the last verse in the Blue Letter Bible. But it starts with verse 23. It says, "At the beginning of thy supplications the commandment went forth, and I am come to tell thee, for thou art greatly beloved, therefore consider the matter and understand the vision. 70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon thy holy city to finish transgression and to make an end of sins and to make reconciliation for iniquity and to bring in everlasting righteousness and to seal up vision and prophecy and to anoint the most holy. Know therefore and discern that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto the anointed one, the prince, shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. It shall be built again with street and moat, even in troublous times. And after 62 weeks shall the anointed one be cut off, and shall have nothing. And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood, and even unto the end shall be war. Desolations are determined." And actually, I don't know if I'm going to have time to read verse 27, so I may do that in the next video, but it's very interesting that the Feast of Weeks comes up in the prophecy about Daniel's 70 weeks. And it all seems to be connected to the Jubilee, which is when Jerusalem was retaken. And in this last table, it had the word June and the word 7th, which is the exact date that Jerusalem was retaken and would start the count of the Jubilee. And I'm about out of time, so I'm going to have to continue in the next video. Thanks.